Ladies, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Cameron McKay, the National Director from the great state of Nevada.
Thank you. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for the national anthem. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Please be seated. Good morning, rural water. Come on, a little louder. You weren't out too late last night on the machines paying our taxes now, were you? Good morning, rural water. That's better. Certainly nice to have you all here, and I have the honor of welcoming you to Reno, Nevada for the 2017 WaterPro Conference. Hope you will all enjoy the conference here this week, and I'm sure you will all find something to do around Reno and the surrounding area. Reno's quite a place. It's a gateway to a lot of outdoor activity. We have skiing, water sports, camping, fishing, hunting. We are very lucky to be blessed with all these natural resources that are near us here. And Nevada has always been very dependent upon National Rural Water and Nevada Rural Water for their services. Most cities and towns, as they grew, excuse me, had to set up near a plentiful water supply. And that sustained their communities as they grew. Nevada is a little different. We started them where there was gold. And that was not necessarily where there was water. And in fact, one good example of that is Virginia City, half an hour's drive up here. They didn't have any water up there, so they received their water from the Tahoe Basin. So the water comes down through an inverted siphon up to Virginia City. And 3 water lines were put in the late 1860s, of which one is still in service. And that is still their main supply of drinking water. So you can see how difficult it was to find water in the state of Nevada. We have some areas that are basically ghost towns now. They're still interesting to see, but their water supply is 10 to 15 miles away. And the average distance between our water systems here in Nevada is approximately 70 miles. So you can see our circuit riders have a lot of windshield time. Lake Tahoe is only an hour's drive away. It's one of the deepest lakes in North America. If you drive through Carson City, you may want to just give a thought that the lake, the bottom of the lake is below the level that you are driving upon. That's a pretty deep lake. It's 1,600 plus feet deep. But in the summertime, it's about 10 to 15 degrees colder than it is down here in the valley, and that's very nice. Virginia City, like I said, half an hour away. And the one person that came out of and made his popularity from Virginia City is somebody that you all have heard about, is Mark Twain. And one of the most famous quotes that he was attributed to him was, "Whiskey's for drinking, water's for fighting over." And that has never been more true than out here in the western parts of the United States. An example would be we received record amounts of snowfall last winter. The top of Mount Rose got 60-some feet of snow, but there's still drought conditions in some parts of the central Nevada and southern California. We're all here this week to learn something, whether it's new products, new methodologies, science, anything. But what we want to do is to learn something so that we can take it back home to the people that we serve and better their lives. And with that, I would like to finally leave you with a couple of more of Mark Twain quotes. One is, "Training is everything. A peach was once a bitter almond, and a cauliflower is nothing but a cabbage with a college education." So I wish you a good time at the conference. And with that, I would like to introduce our Executive Vice President, Steve Weir. Thank you very much.
Let us please stand for the invocation. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we come to you today asking for your guidance, wisdom, and support as we begin this conference. Help us to engage in meaningful discussion. Allow us to grow as a group and nurture the bonds of our community. Fill us with your grace, Lord God, as we make decisions that might affect our great rural water family, and continue to remind us that all we do here over the next 3 days, all that we accomplish, is for the pursuit of truth, for the greater glory of you, and for the service of our members. We ask these things in your name. Amen. Please be seated. I have the great honor and privilege this morning to introduce to you our president of NRWA. I've known President Steve for quite a few years, and the one thing that I can honestly tell you about, of all the people on our board, he has, I think, the most compassion for our rural water family. Rural water is always foremost on his mind, always foremost in his actions, and everything that he does, even at home with the system, at our board meetings, here at this conference, it's going to be to make rural water better. A man that I can also truly say that I can call a great friend, someone that I can counsel with, someone that will always be there to pick me up when I fall down. So join me in giving a big rural water welcome to NRWA President, Mr. Steve Fletcher.
Mr. Ware sure knows how to get a guy compassionate. Thank you for what you do for me to be able to be up here and drink this. It's what you do back home that allows us to work for you, to bring that money back, your programs back, the technical assistance back, and for you to have a good life in rural America. Cheers. I hope that's not in the way up here. First of all, it's my honor right now to bring up a few sponsors. Without these sponsors, this WaterPro conference would not be as big as it is. It would not be the great technical and training event that it is, and it wouldn't have the big exhibit hall that we have that has all the new techniques and fittings and tools and technology and software. So as I read your name and your company, would you please come forward? I'm proud to bring up our premier diamond sponsor from Cobank, Julia McCusker. She's the Vice President of the Rural Water Division. Julia?
Thank you very much.
See you? It's heavy.
It is heavy. Thank you. Good morning, everybody. We are happy to be here again and really thrilled to be a sponsor of this great organization. We appreciate everything that everybody does for the rural water industry, and we hope that you can come by and see us in our booth. We're right inside the door in the exhibit hall. Thank you.
Next, we have our diamond sponsor, USA Blue Book, and Kathleen Burant is the president of USA Blue Book. If she would come forward, please.
Good morning, everyone. It's absolutely our pleasure to be here, and on behalf of the entire USA Blue Book team, thank you for all you do to deliver clean water across this great nation. For all of you that have been impacted by the hurricanes, any help that you need, please let us know. USA Blue Book is there for you as support for all the great work that you do. Thank you very much for this recognition.
Next, we have our platinum sponsor, HD Supply Waterworks, and Andy Santi, Director of Marketing.
Well, good morning, everybody. We, as everyone else that's been up here, is very honored to be a part of the organization, both as a national sponsor and as a very active member in all of your state associations. The logo's no longer up there, but you're going to see us changing here. We just changed names to Corin, Maine. We're very proud of our new future, and we look forward to working with both the state associations, circuit riders, and all of you working on every main street out there. Thank you.
And next, we have our gold sponsor, CST Industries Incorporated, also has Aquastore, Michael Polson, Director of Dealer Sales.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you. I had to write this down. CST Storage, which manufactures the Aquastore glass fused to steel water storage tanks, has been a proud sponsor of National Rural Water Association since 2004. CST manufactures Aquastore tanks in rural DeKalb, Illinois. With our roots in rural America, we believe the Aquastore blue tanks are now part of that landscape. We at Aquastore, along with our incredible dealer network, feel privileged to be part of helping bring clean water to rural communities across the country. Aquastore looks forward to being a partner and sponsor of the National Rural Water Association for years to come. Thank you.
And at this time, too, I'd also like to tell you who our silver sponsor is, the Ford Meter Box Company. We appreciate their sponsorship also. One thing I did forget to say, I think, is our diamond sponsor, USA Blue Book, is our only 18-year sponsor. So they've been sponsoring us for 18 years. Let's give them one more hand. You know, they always told speakers that think of all of the people naked in the crowd. And these lights are so bright, I can't even see anybody. But I know you're there, I hear you, and welcome. Tell you a little bit about what's going on, a little bit about ourselves. Many of you may be new. NRWA is a utility membership organization with over 31,000 members. Thank you. Now I can see people. Not too dark. I won't be able to read it. Our member communities have the very important public responsibility of complying with all applicable regulations and for supplying the public safe drinking water and sanitation every second of every day. And that's what you guys do. Most of all water supplies in the U.S. are small. 94% of the water supplies serve communities with fewer than 10,000 people. And 80% of the country's wastewater supplies serve fewer than 10,000. I make these points further to highlight the fact that without affordable funding, these systems would not be in existence. And this financing and direct assistance provided by rural development and entities like ourselves, many of these small rural communities couldn't simply afford to pay for the basic service of clean, safe, and affordable water and wastewater services for their residents. As you know, the President's budget in March zeroed out our rural development funds. And can you imagine being president of National Rural Water? President Trump gets elected by rural America, and then he takes away our money. And I'm thinking, this isn't going to look good for me. You know, you try to do as good as your past, and we've had some great past presidents. In fact, a couple, I see Jim Dunlap, Phil Bastion, Doug Anderton, Charles Hilton, and I'm sure there might be a couple more back in the back. But trying to live up to what they did, their accomplishments. And then here we are, not going to have any money. But National Rural Water started the Save Rural Development campaign. And each and every one of you did what National wanted you to do. Send your stories in and tell the legislators how important rural water is to each and every one of you. And it was a success. Those funds were put back into the 2018 budget. We still have our work to do. We still have to make sure that the congressmen and senators pass the budget the way we want it. But it's in there, and it's all because of the hard work of rural water, rural America. The Rural Development Mission has a wide approach necessary to enhance and protect the health and vitality of rural America. We look at these USDA investments, especially in infrastructure, and witness their impact on the quality of life in these rural communities. People take it for granted that their water is always safe and uninterrupted. We know that's not true all the time, but most of the time, people can turn their faucet on and have a good, clean drink. They're economic catalysts for economic and community growth, while at the same time enhancing and maintaining the health and environment for the residents. In many cases, new businesses would not entertain locating in an area without these water and wastewater services. We all drink the water we produce, and I would offer that we are the first line of defense for the water quality that our customers use in their daily lives. Also want to talk a little bit about the Farm Bill. It's coming up next year. Just a few things. I'm not going to take a lot of time. It's pretty well everything we've had before. We want again. The RUS water and wastewater loan and grant programs. The majority of rural communities in the nation have relied on USDA rural development and the former name of Farmers Home Administration for affordable financing and technical assistance to provide these essential services. My system included. My system would not be here without rural development loan and grant program. Many of these projects take years of personal investments from the local leaders and community. The local ownership and operation is another source of pride for the community. As we all know, in small towns, you've got your business district, you got your schools, and you got the water system. And how many of us have lost our downtowns? And how many of us have lost our schools due to consolidation? The water system is one thing that we need to fight for. We need to do everything we can to make sure it's financially viable and also passes all applicable EPA regulations. Because if you don't do that, somebody is wanting to take you over. Some people think that we, as small system operators and small boards, shouldn't be in the water and wastewater business just because we're small. How many of you believe that? I don't see anybody. We take pride in what we do, but you have to realize you have to work, you have to pay the bills, you have to do what's right to make the water system, wastewater system viable. We don't want somebody forcing us to consolidate with somebody else. Now, if you need to, that's a different story. If you need somebody else's help, then by all means, work out the best deal you can. But let's do the right thing. Another thing in the Farm Bill, our bread and butter, the Rural Development Circuit Rider Program. Since 1980, circuit riders have produced on-site technical assistance to small communities in all states in a wide variety of assistance. And they're all necessary to ensure that facilities operate at the highest level possible for public health protection. And we saw the opening, the direct on-the-ground disaster assistance we provide, Hurricanes Harvey and Irma. Currently, people are down there working to get systems back in operation, helping people. We're the front line when these events occur. State associations across the country provide equipment and personnel to provide immediate disaster relief. And National Rural Water, through our experienced state affiliates, conducts annual emergency response training to prepare for these events. And that training is next month in southern Georgia. And we have a very strong emergency response committee with our National Rural Water Association. Hats off to all of them. Another item, the Wastewater Technical Assistance Program. This initiative provides on-the-ground technical assistance directly to communities for wastewater treatment facilities. Another item, future infrastructure funding. As President Trump has emphasized, a robust bill is needed. Aging infrastructure is a problem in our nation, and we support the President in this infrastructure program. And we also have a direct involvement with the committee that's looking at that with Keith Hurd from our DC office. By the way, he's been involved, I think, in 9 farm bills. So do you think we are in good hands with him? And also, I don't want to belay our other people in Washington, D.C. while I'm talking about it. Bill Simpson, Michael Preston, and Mike Keegan, 4 of the best in Washington, D.C. And we're so successful, not only because of the hard work you do back home, but what they do behind the scenes with their connections, the people they know. And I cannot imagine anybody having a better team than we do. And again, something that's maybe really not out in front of everybody, but 1926B, federal loan protection. Without that, towns, cities can just come in and take what they want from us. If you've got a loan, you've got that protection, and you have a way to fight intrusion from other communities. We at the National Rural Water Association also share the mission and vision of our rural development partners, a mission to serve, regardless of income or location, every rural community in need. Like rural development, we want to ensure no community in rural America is left behind. No community can grow and improve without sustaining resources, water and wastewater services. And I'm sure you're going to hear all week about affinity programs. And I'm not going to really go through it. I'm just going to mention them by name. There's booths out front, out in the exhibit hall. ServeLine, smart websites, Rural Water Loan Fund, Healthy Benefits, IRIS, and Data Breach Insurance, along with our Water University and our WaterPro community. That's a great suite of assistance that each system can pick and choose from. At our board meeting Saturday, I hope in a few years we can look back at Saturday and say, what a historic meeting that was. Your board made the investments in a credit union where we can serve rural America in on our membership. And we hope that allows us a lot of leeway in how we can go forward. The other thing is we've started a captive insurance program. We've invested for the future. Sam and Matt and Claudette and the other leaders at Rural Water, you know, they look ahead. You know, we may look at tomorrow or next week or next month, but they have to look ahead. They're looking 1 year, 5 years, 10 years down the road. They're trying to do everything now that will ensure our success in the future. We created a 501c3 company so that we can receive donations for different programs in our association. And now I really want to, one thing that, and if I went to your state, you probably heard me say this, and you maybe heard me say this last year, but our relationship, our grassroots relationships with our congressmen and senators back home is so, so very important. Without those relationships, we would not be where we are today. So I urge each and every one of you, when your congressmen or senators come home, if they're close, if they're in your town, they're having a town hall, they're having a fundraiser, go by and talk to them. Go out there and say, Congressman or Senator, thank you for what you do for us in rural America. Thank you for what you do for rural America. Because that's how National Rural Water is successful to gain funding and regulation relief to help you back home. I cannot be more passionate about that grassroots effort. And our DC staff needs that. Also, the water pack raffle. We're in a gambling town, we're in a casino. I was lucky enough to win a little money, not much, but you know where that's gonna go? Perfect. You've got a better chance of winning a prize at our water pack raffle than you do out on those machines or those tables. So I want each and every one of you, open your wallets. There's some great prizes. The states are very generous on their prize donation. Spend some money. We're going to try to break a record. $32,000 is what we had last year, and we want to break that because it goes to a good cause. It goes to help our friends in Congress that actually come back and help us. So go out, spend some money at the water pack raffle. If you win some money out in the hall, spend it at the water pack raffle. And I think Claudette told me if you lose money out there, you have to spend the same amount back at the water pack raffle. So thank you again. Without you doing the right thing each and every day, we would not have a wonderful and great rural America. And it is. And I appreciate all the hard work that you do in doing the right thing. And we hope you take a lot back from this conference, the WaterPro conference. And with that, I'm done, and I'm surprised Steve Ware did not mention, well, I guess it's right here, isn't it? I have that on my shoulder. I got a tattoo of that right here on my shoulder. And Doug Anderson, and when I was showing it Friday morning, I guess, Doug Anderson walked up, and I just had it done last Monday. So, you know, if you've had a tattoo, it's a little tender. And I pulled my sleeve up, and Doug Anderson said, "Oh, that's nice." About 3 times. But he didn't think it was real. But it was. But thank you for everything that you do. Myself and the executive committee was reelected Saturday for another year, and we hope it is a better year than this year. Thank you all. God bless you.
Good morning. Welcome to WaterPro 2017. Oh, my phone's going off here. Uh-oh, Steve, this is from our trademark attorney. There's a little problem with that logo. No, nothing. We'll talk about it later. Welcome. It is my pleasure to come out here today and introduce to you our next VIP speaker. This is Miss Betty W. Oliver, who is a retired state program director for water programs, USDA Rural Development, and she's also an ordained minister of the gospel. She spent most of her career serving her fellow citizens of her state of Mississippi. She's a native of Vicksburg, Mississippi, and has been a public servant throughout her career. She's worked for U.S. Army Corps, went back to work for U.S. Congressman Mike Espy. With USDA, she's done the Rural Business Administration, community facilities, water and wastewater programs. She has a long and storied career, I would say, as a true friend of rural water. She's an alumnus of Alcorn State University and has been committed to supporting safe drinking water and sanitary waste disposal services. For that, she was awarded the first lifetime honorary membership to the Mississippi Rural Water Association for her distinguished service to the water and wastewater industry. And her motto has always been, "If I can help somebody, then my living will not be in vain." Please help me welcome to the stage Miss Betty Oliver, Miss O.
Good morning, rural water and wastewater family. I salute the entire NRWA Board of Directors and in particular, Sam Wade, CEO of this professional organization and a very dear friend of mine. It is a privilege to be associated with the largest water and wastewater utility membership in the United States of America. Of course, Steve has already said that NRWA represents more than 31,000 water and wastewater members, and for that, you should give this organization a great big hand. What an honor and a pleasure for me to be in Reno for this time of learning, collaboration, networking, opportunities to hear new and innovative ideas, getting potential answers to problems that you face with your water and wastewater systems, or just to be inspired to implement policies or to try new technology. I want to thank all of you in the water and wastewater industry for the unselfish service that you provide utility systems, large and small, municipal and rural, across this wonderful, blessed country. As I was doing my research, I saw where NRWA was founded in 1976 in response to the Safe Drinking Water Act that was passed in 1974. NRWA's first meeting in Oklahoma City was attended by 8 states: Kansas, Missouri, North Carolina, North Dakota, Oklahoma, Indiana, and Texas. And of course, several other states joined in 1977. And Mississippi, my great state, joined in 1978. Now, Kirby Mayfield, that was a very good year because it was actually the year that I got married. Now, NRWA must have been doing something right because it has certainly, Bill, outlasted my marriage. As I stated earlier, we are a water and wastewater family. We need each other to survive. And water and waste, from the customers to the clerks, we need each other. To the local water and wastewater boards, the operators, engineers, local, state, and federal government. Each has a vital role in keeping our water and wastewater systems safe, sanitary, and sustainable. One cannot function properly without the other. Now, I'm reminded of a song that I need you to survive. I need you, you need me. We're all a part of God's body. Stand with me, agree with me. I need you to survive. It is His will that every need be supplied. You are important to me. I need you to survive. I remember when I was first introduced to rural water issues. I was actually working for a former congressman, Congressman Mike Espy. And it was during the time of a rare drought in rural southwest Mississippi in a community named Blue Hill in Jefferson County. Now, the community leader was an elderly lady named Miss Janie Cole. And Miss Cole took me to a nearby creek that was actually drying up. You could actually see the bed of the creek, Bill. Members of the community were drinking water from that creek that was no doubt contaminated. And many were hauling water from nearby communities. Now, at that time, I could not believe what I was seeing. I thought, no one in America should be drinking water from a drying up creek. My heart was filled with compassion, and I was moved to take action. So I immediately reported my findings to the congressman, and then I contacted USDA for possible solutions. And during that process, I was connected to the Mississippi Rural Water Association, community leaders, engineers, health officials, and others to get the application process started to connect this small community to a nearby water system. The funded project only brought water from the water line to the meter. Now, this was a very depressed community, and the median household income was below the poverty line. Therefore, these rural residents, most of them, did not have the resources to bring the water inside their homes. Now, this story hit national news, and as a result, caring people from across several states began sending resources for inside plumbing. This community, I'm happy to say today, has safe, sanitary water and sewer. This is not an isolated community, Ken Evans. We have these types of communities all over. Our job is not complete. There are still millions today without safe, sanitary water and wastewater system, not only here in America, but in the world. Now, Stephen Johnson said that water is the lifeblood of our bodies, our economy, our nation, and our well-being. Many have lived without love, but no one can live without water. The United Nations made the statement that water is critical for the sustainable development, including environmental integrity and the alleviation of poverty and hunger. And water is indispensable for human health and well-being. Now, we have the ability to provide clean water to every man, woman, and child on this earth. But what we need is the collective will of all of our partners to accomplish this. And if there are any funders out there, it takes money to get this done. I sincerely want to thank the NRWA and its states affiliates for providing training, technical assistance, and source water protection assistance to rural and small communities. This assistance is supported by the United States Congress in partnership with USDA Rural Utility Services. And Sam, I know that these utilities, they appreciate all of the time that you spend on Capitol Hill to ensure that the proper funding level for these projects are achieved. NRWA and its states affiliates provides emergency response and disaster relief assistance to small systems recovering from disasters. Now, I have personally witnessed the commitment of the Mississippi Rural Water Circuit Riders firsthand, providing emergency response and disaster assistance during the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina. Now, the Mississippi group didn't just come down one day or 1 month or 1 week to provide the technical assistance that those community needs. They were there. They stayed right there and provided the assistance until the mission was accomplished. We truly are a family. Our sister cities, our sister circuit riders from Arkansas and Florida, I thank you for coming down and providing assistance during that particular hurricane. Now, Hurricane Katrina made me realize that a natural disaster can change the lives of anyone in an instant. I saw the pain. I saw the hopeless looks on the faces of some of the people that were affected. And I personally know how it feels to be without water. You see, I was without water in my own city in May of this year because a well fell. And I know how it feels. I just started thinking, and my mind started traveling 90 miles a minute. How am I going to take a bath? Am I going to be able to cook? Can I brush my teeth? Am I going to be able to take a shower? Clean water, people, is just necessary for everyday life. And again, I want to acknowledge the Mississippi Rural Water Associations and all of the rural water associations across this nation, not just for what they do during a disaster, but how they serve daily our rural utility systems. It is a way of life for them, and you are to be commended. Every employee, every team member of these associations makes some sacrifice to serve on these utility systems. And sometimes this sacrifice comes at the expense of spending time with their family members. The recent hurricanes, Harvey and Irma, have devastated parts of Texas and Florida. And its impact had horrific effects on several other states. Flooding and wind damage have left families homeless, without food, changing clothing, clean water. Many are without electricity. Streets and bridges are not safe. But I know that all of you out there will rise to the challenge and provide the necessary emergency response and disaster relief as you always have. And again, I want to thank all of you for what you do to improve the quality of life in rural America. Now, the Bible declares in Matthew 25, 35 through 40, and this is Jesus speaking. For I was hungry, and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me drink. I was a stranger, and you invited me in. I needed clothes, and you clothed me. Truly, I tell you, whatever you did for the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did it for me. My rural water family, this is perhaps the greatest disaster that has hit our homeland. And we have a great challenge to restore vital water and wastewater systems, to restore other necessary infrastructure, and to rebuild our communities affected by this monster storm. I know that sometimes your body gets tired, but together we can do it, and we must not quit. In closing, I want to leave you with a poem that has inspired me throughout my entire career, and it's entitled, Don't Quit. When things go wrong, as they sometimes will, when the road that you're trotting seems all uphill, when the funds are low and the debts are high, and you want to smile, but you have to sigh, when care is pressing you down a bit, rest if you must, but don't you quit. Success is failure turned inside out, the silver tint to the clouds of doubt. And you never can tell how close you are. It may be near when it seems afar. So stick to the fight when your heart is hit. It's when things seem worse that you must not quit. Within you, each of you, is the power to rise above any situation or any struggle. So together, people, we will survive. Together, we will rebuild. So today is the perfect day to tell you that no one, and absolutely no one, can do a better job than you do. God bless each of you and enjoy your conference.
Used to sit down by the highway and watch all the cars going by and hang out down at the pool and
I know this song.
listen to the old men tell lies. They'd fill her head full of stories about places and things that they'd seen. She'd tell her friends about all her plans. Now she's a kid full of dreams. Small towns can't hold on to dreamers. They grow up and just drift away. And later we'll read in the papers about how well they're doing today. Small towns can't hold on to dreamers, but the world ain't as big as it seems. You can live in a castle, you can walk in the sand, but you can't take the home out of dreams. You can't take the home out of dreams.
Ladies and gentlemen, the CEO of the National Rural Water Association, Mr. Sam Wade.
Well, good morning. You would think as CEO I'd know better than to speak after somebody like Miss Betty Oliver. Got to reassess that in the future. Well, let me also welcome you to Reno and your 2017 WaterPro Conference. I have a lot of thank yous to get out there this morning, so I'm just going to jump right in it. First by saying thank you to the corporate sponsors that President Fletcher recognized when he was at the podium. They support, with their level of sponsorship, all of the activities of your association, and we certainly appreciate them. Our conference sponsors, the exhibitors, and all the people that in sessions and instructors and so forth that make this a success. Thank you all very much. I'd also like to say thank you to our federal agency staff that is here with you this week. Certainly the USDA Rural Development, Rural Utility Service staff who work day in and day out to fund rural and small community water and wastewater systems and support our circuit rider program and the wastewater technical assistance and so forth. And a very special welcome and for the first time attendee, and she was recently appointed, and I'm not sure it's even been publicly made, so breaking news. And that is Acting Deputy Administrator for Water and Environment Programs, Claudette Fernandez, and she will speak to you tomorrow morning at the Outlook session on USDA. Welcome. Thank you to the Farm Service Agency who supports source water protection all across the nation. To the staff of the Environmental Protection Agency whom we work closely with on regulatory issues and compliance training. And the I think he's acting as well. Deputy Acting Administrator for Water, Lee Forsgren, will be here and address you on Wednesday morning. And this year, the Department of Labor. We recently signed a formal partnership agreement to create an apprenticeship program in the water and wastewater industry through your state association. So we welcome all those people. I'd also like to take just a minute to recognize some colleagues of mine who have announced that they're retiring after this conference. And these are individuals that have been around from when their associations were young. That's not to say they're old or anything. But in cooperation and leadership of their board of directors, they've made their associations what they are today. Icons in their state, icons in the water and wastewater industry, and certainly icons within the rural water family. And that is Denny Davis, the CEO of South Dakota Rural Water. And he's got a couple of field staff that I've known for many, many years that are retiring as well, Morris Elcock and Jerry Heimer. Dave Lawrence, CEO of Wisconsin Rural Water, and Pat Scalera, the CEO of New York Rural Water. Will you join me in providing them a round of applause for their career and the difference they've made in rural America? Thank you. And last but not least, thank you, each and every one of you, for being here this week. Thank you for creating the power of your association. Thank you for the relationships you've built up over the years with your congressional representatives and agency folks and so forth. Thank you for providing the credibility that we enjoy today in representing the membership. And thank you for saving the USDA water funding for 2017. Yeah, give yourselves a round of applause and your neighbors. I believe from the bottom of my heart that without that program, the quality of life in rural America would deteriorate, as well as the rural economy. And that is a major accomplishment this year. A great battle won, but it's certainly not over. But that ensured that funding continues to remain there to fund rural water districts, water systems, communities, water and wastewater, and so forth. And that is much needed, as you all know. Also benefits larger districts. You know, they're eligible for that funding, and if they have a loan, and many of them do, they may have started small, so they have a loan through USDA, and it protects them from annexation from major metropolitan water agencies and so forth. So it's been a busy 2017 with lots of challenges, but it hadn't taken away from our core mission to strengthen state association in a manner that benefits the utility members. We started that, as President Fletcher mentioned, with affinity programs a couple of years ago. The first one was ServeLine, a program designed specifically for the utility to protect your customers from financial hardship from service line leaks. 97% retention rate nationwide, 97%. That tells me this is something that your customers will gladly embrace because it benefits them, and it also ensures revenue to the utility for the water you produce. At the same time, we entered into agreement with Rural Water Impact and Municipal Impact. Again, specifically designed for the utilities, the website people, professional, flexible, user-friendly, customer service second to none. Just ask any of their clients in your state or that you meet here this week, and you'll be seeking them out as opposed to them coming to you trying to sell you. Great company, great service, and great product. We also contacted and entered into agreement with Bailey Special Risk to create a cybersecurity data breach insurance policy that was affordable for rural utilities and small utilities. Don't be the next Equifax dilemma. Protect your data just like it's an asset, so protect it just like your buildings and so forth. They're down in the exhibit hall right across from the water pack booth, so I would invite you to go talk to each of those folks. We added 2 new ones this year. Medova Healthcare. You know, I attended a town hall meeting a couple of weeks ago with our congressman, and healthcare is on a lot of people's mind, and I'm sure it is on yours as well. This was designed, again, for the utility. Doesn't fit everybody, but if it fits your utility, your staff or your employees are going to receive excellent coverage, a reduced price for the utility, and a reduced expense for your employees as well. We also added IRIS. Let me see if I can remember this one now. Immediate Information Response Systems, allowing you to contact all of your customers instantaneously. Water main break, low water pressure, any kind of emergency, time to pay your bill. Through email, voicemail, fax, text messaging, or any combination thereof. This year we added 2 new ones for you to consider. I already mentioned Manova Healthcare, but I mentioned those, okay. And President Fletcher announced to you that we're forming the National Rural Water Federal Credit Union. That's designed to meet a small funding need in utilities. You, as a utility, you will essentially own the bank, which will offer you higher return on investments and lower cost on any small loans that you may have, with excellent customer service from people who know who they're dealing with, know the industry, and are there to serve you as the depositor. And as the depositor, you own the bank, and you also share in its profits. So it's been a very busy, successful 2017, and we anticipate the same thing in 2018. You know, when I saw that video that was just shown, it sort of pulled at my heartstrings, and perhaps you, as I did, you know, got a glimpse of ourselves in younger years, dreaming about what we were going to do, where we were going to go, and what we were going to be. But I definitely saw our kids, and I definitely saw our grandkids. I know they'll be sitting around the local cafe in the little community that we're closest to, Sterling, Oklahoma, or out at the swimming hole at the ballpark, and yes, out in some farmer's field, midnight, campfire, doing things they probably shouldn't be doing, but dreaming about what they want to do, where they want to be. And it dawned on me, that's really how Rural Water District started. Somebody just dreamed of a pipeline running by their property to provide a safe, quality drinking water supply, to improve their quality of life and that of their neighborhood. Somebody dreaming. And then those people got together and dreamed of having a state organization where they could share knowledge, expertise, and experience. Rural water districts, or rural water associations were formed. Then those associations got together and dreamed of having a national presence, and in 1976 formed National Rural Water. So, and many of the systems here today are larger, probably started with a small USDA loan. And I couldn't help but think, you know, the song is about leaving small town America, but it also says you can't take home out of leaving, that you always come home. Blake Shelton walking around the streets of Tishomingo, Oklahoma. You're just as apt to see him there as on The Voice. It's home. In Rural Water's home to a lot of you that are here today. So thank you for making your association what it is today. Over the years, I've seen lots and lots of success and growth, from those original 8 states to all 50 states being represented, from just a handful of water utility districts in 1976 to over 30,000 today. I've seen the influx of expertise, professionalism, and experience come into state associations, into our field staff that are out in the field every day, talented beyond belief, and the people that you send to serve and govern the National Association. That's what makes all this work. This is what makes your association successful. It's you, each of you individually. And I can emphatically say to you, home has never left their hearts. Rural water runs through their veins like H2O through a pipeline. So thank you for making your association what it is today. Thank you for being here. Have a blessed conference, safe journey home, and God bless.
Bring me little water, Sylvie. Bring me little water now. Bring me little water, Sylvie. Every little once in a while. Bring me little water, Sylvie. Bring me little water. Bring me little water, Sylvie, every little once in a while. Can't you hear me, Sylvie? Bucket in your hand. I'm gonna bring you water fast as I can. Bring me little water, Sylvie. Bring me little water now. Bring me little water, Sylvie. Every little once in a while. Don't you hear me calling? Don't you hear me now? Don't you hear me calling? Every little once in a while. Bring me little water, Sylvie. Bring me little water now. Bring me little water, Sylvie. Every little once in a while. Don't you see me coming?
Ladies and gentlemen, don't forget, the exhibit hall is opening at 9:30. Make your way to the exhibit hall.
Every little once in a while.